everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a video idea that actually one of you gave me. You asked me in my big palette collection video if I could only keep 10 palettes, which 10 would I keep? And that's like asking me to that's like asking me to pick my favorite child, which I don't have one. I have 3 children, love them all. But anyway, so it actually wasn't that hard to find my 10 favorite palettes. And so I'm going to go over them today in this video. If you're interested in this super bright Kelly green eyeshadow look, I either have it in, either it's posted already and I'll link it right here, or it's coming next. I did a whole series of colorful eyeshadow looks in wearable fashion that I think, like I literally am wearing these to work, so I guess they're wearable for me. I hope they're wearable for you. But anyway, if you're interested in that look, either look for that video above, or like I said, it will be up next. So I'm going to go over these 10 palettes. They are not going to be in order, except maybe I'll tell you my number one that I would get if I had 0 eyeshadow palettes. But these are the 10 that when I went through my collection, I'm like, I can't live without these. And besides that, I don't want to get rid of my other ones, but I think it would be interesting to try to limit myself for a few months to these palettes to see if, in practicality, they are the 10 palettes that I want to use. I think they are, based on how often I've used them, how much I like the formulas, things like that. So let's get started. Okay, so one of my favorite palettes is the Sultry palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I know this was a limited edition palette, which I really wish it wouldn't be. I just love it. I think the color story is amazing. It is one of my few cool toned palettes, but there are like really fun pops. Like this color is beautiful, all in the crease. And then there's Rose Quartz, which is a beautiful color as well. Not so cool toned. But then the rest are cool tone or medium, and every time I do a look with this, I love it. I do love the Slate and the Cyborg. These two are beautiful, and it's just a great palette. I also love the brush that it comes with. Don't throw these away. They're very good, but I really love this one. I definitely like feel a vibe when I use this one, and it is helping me at the moment resist the Natasha Denona Glam palette, so I'm hoping that it will, for a little bit at least, keep me away from that one. But this is definitely one of my favorites. Another one by Anastasia is the Jackie Aina palette. And by the way, I've seen a couple people do this video lately, so you know, I'll link some of the ones that I've seen below, because I always love to hear what other people say about palettes that they love. But somebody else that I watched put this one down as well, and I totally agree. This is a great palette. This is funny because I bought this palette and returned it, and then bought it again and returned it, and then I bought it and I kept it. I don't know why I was going back and forth. I think the first time I had just bought so many palettes at that time that I didn't get to it, and I'm like, let me return it. I didn't even swatch it. Then the second time, I'm not sure why I returned it, but I'm so glad that I kept it. What I love about this, great purples and pinks. This is like one of my favorite colors. It is such a beautiful red. I'm probably going to use it tomorrow to create a red look. This color is gorgeous. The mattes are beautiful, and this one, I think it's called Lithuanian. I love that color. So this one's beautiful as well. I really like this one and the Sultry palette, mainly because I can get different looks. The Sultry palette has a little bit more limitation because the looks are all going to be pretty neutral, but this one I can get a variety of looks, sticking with the green, doing an orangey look, pink look, purple look, super neutral, or like a smoky. So I really love this one too. Now, no surprise, I love this palette, the Nomad by Juvia's Place. It's just fall in a palette. I described it last time as a Bob Ross painting. I've been loving watching Bob Ross. If any of you have like need to calm down, or you've had a stressful day, or you love painting, go watch some Bob Ross. He also gives some amazing like life advice, so watch him. But anyway, this palette I just absolutely love. I created 5 looks with this. I loved the 5 looks. I'll link that video as well. But I just love this palette. Highly recommend. It is so affordable, and sometimes it's on sale at Ulta, and it's definitely on sale at Juvia's Place, so look for it. It's great. Another one that I love that I also did 5 looks for is a BH Cosmetics Smitten in Switzerland. BH Cosmetics is a brand that I like never paid attention to. I'm like, whatever, it's a drugstore brand. I don't think the quality is going to be so good, and they always have these bright colors, and there's no way there could be good payoff. Well, I was wrong. This is a beautiful palette. I also put made 5 looks with this. I'll link that one too. I've been filming a lot of videos. Anyway, this one's fabulous. I love the variety in this palette. I felt like all 5 of my looks looked so different from one another. The only color I haven't been able to like really do something with is this one. I don't know why, it just looks weird on me. But the rest of the colors, I used all of them and I absolutely loved it. I just think it's such a beautiful palette. Lots of variety. Another really inexpensive palette. And let me stick on the drugstore side before we get to the super expensive ones. Okay, so the Jaclyn Hill palette, I talk about this a lot. I really like this, and it, what I especially like about it is this corner right here. Oh, and these two, because I'm able to get some of those brighter greens like I'm wearing today, although not from this palette, but I do like that. I love the transition shades. There's 4 great ones right here, all different like undertones. And then some really great warm colors. So this is a great palette. I feel like I can use this and get a lot of different looks. Mine is so beat up because I've had it for so long, but the colors still work really, really well. This is one of my favorites. And I got it before she had named them, but they didn't have like the insert of the names. I love that color. It's so pretty. So I don't have the names of these, but you know, that doesn't really bother me, to be honest, but there's just some really beautiful shades in this palette. Still working so super well, and I've had it for 4 years and maybe 5, and it's still working great. All right, so some of the expensive ones. So Natasha Denona Lila palette. I just love this palette. It brings me so much happiness. I love looking at it. I love swatching it. I love the looks that I get with it. And what I'm surprised at is how much I love the mattes, not even the colors that like scream out at you, which are beautiful, like these 4. I love the mattes in this one too. I just think they're so beautiful. Of course, I'm going to love this one. I always love these kind of like murky brown, smoky colors, but the mattes are gorgeous in this palette. And then this color, which depending on what, sorry, I got cut off because I have an alarm on my phone. Anyway, so I was speaking about this color. So depending on what photo you look at this, palette, this color Dragon Bite sometimes seems incredibly red and sometimes doesn't. So when you look, I'm trying to get the duochrome, I think you can see it right about there. When you get this in front of you, it looks like nothing. And then this happens. Isn't this amazing? So on the eye, it literally does this. Like sometimes you're seeing kind of that like murky brownish color, and sometimes you're seeing the beautiful red. So I absolutely love that. That's a beautiful palette. I feel special every time I use it. It's great. Another one that I love that I did 5 looks on my Instagram, but not on YouTube, is or maybe I did. No, I didn't. Anyway, it's the Natasha Denona Safari palette. Does anyone else have trouble saying this name? Natasha Denona. I have so much trouble. But this is an all matte palette. I really love it. I think the mattes in here are so beautiful, especially these. I really love these cool tones. All of them work really well. This blue is beautiful. I just really love it. It is incredibly pigmented and super true to color. So what you're seeing in the pan is what actually shows up on your eye. And I absolutely love it. I just think it's fabulous. Great quality. And Natasha Denona shadows, like you could just stick a little pin in there and the eyeshadows pop up. And you can create your own little palette or switch them into a Z palette or magnetic palette. And you can make different color combinations, and I love that. Okay, another of my true loves. I'm going to go, now these are like the top 3. So, I'm going to say the top 2. Okay, I love this palette. I just don't use it a lot. So this is still one that would go on here. This is the Persona Cosmetics Identity 2 palette. I really love this palette. I think you can get such beautiful looks in it. For some reason, I don't pick it up as often as I should, which is why I want to put these kind of in my top shelf and use them a little bit more like purposefully so I can really enjoy the shadows. I love Persona's Persona Cosmetics formula. I think it's perfect, to be totally honest. It's so easy to get a quick look. So there's such beautiful colors in here. This gold, I cannot find any other color in my collection that makes that, like that kind of yellow gold. I love it. The only thing that I don't love about this palette is this green and this purple look beautiful in the pan, and they look beautiful here, but when I get them on my eye, they look a little bit murky. Like you can't totally tell it's like this green or a purple, because I think the base of it is it's almost like it's in a brown base. I don't know if you can tell this, but what I'm going to try to do when I do 5 looks in this is I'm going to try to base it. I'm going to try to put Kind first, which is this beautiful cream color, and don't mind me. And I'm going to see if that makes the colors pop a little bit. The other thing I've done is I've used a black base with purples like this before, and it does make the purple pop. So that's the only thing that like I kind of keep in the back of my head that I don't love, because I just want these to be a little bit brighter like the shadow that I'm using. But to be totally honest, this formula is gorgeous. It's so easy to work on the eye. The colors are beautiful. This bronze is gorgeous. These two are just perfect. It's perfect brown and perfect black. And I love the looks. I love this steely blue. So this one's really beautiful. And then my top 2 palettes, if you took them all away, I would buy these tomorrow. One is, can you guess? The Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals. I love this palette. I just love it. I think it is perfect. I want her to come out. I want her to come back, number 1. And number 2, I want her to come out with another one that has some different rows of color. But I love the formula. I love the looks. I love every single one of the rows. I think Soothe is probably, I love Soothe so much. It's this brown. It's the brown one. I love it because I think it makes such a beautiful brown smoky eye. And on my really dark brown eyes, sometimes a black smoky eye or like a cool tone smoky eye looks super stark on me. And so a brown smoky eye is really beautiful in my opinion. So I really love that. I also love the entire, what should she call this? The Story, the oranges. I just used that a few days ago. And then I've never met like a more perfect transition color in the color Soothe. Oh man, I was calling this Soothe. This is all Ritual. Sorry. This is Soothe. And then this pop, people call this purple, Poet, but I think they're really pink, so I don't really get why people call that purple. But anyway, the glitters are gorgeous. They're super, like, not packed. They're almost opaque is what I'm trying to say. They're not, like, chunky, like ColourPop glitters that you have, like, a glitter here and then a space and a glitter here. This is, like, super condensed. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. But it goes on your eye like that, and it's amazing. I wish I had this in college. Anyway, I absolutely love this palette. I think it is beautiful. I think it's worth every single dollar. Love it. And then my number 1, drum roll, can I find a drum roll, is the Persona Identity 1 palette. I can't believe how much I never used this palette. So this palette I got from a recommendation from Jessica Braun. I've said this before. She said she loved the palette and she loved the formula. And I was like, fine, I'll get it because you told me to. So I bought it, and then it sat in my drawer because I was like, this is so boring. Why is this so boring? I hate it. And then in my Instagram journey to try a palette tried all of my palettes once, I did a look and I was like, oh my god, that was so easy, and I loved it. And then it was one of the first that I did 5 looks in one palette, and I loved every single time I used this palette. I think it is beautiful. The shimmers, the metallics, I call them shimmers, are grown-up shimmers, which means if you have any texture on your lid, or you're starting to like have much more mobility on your lid, which I certainly am, these do not emphasize any like texture on your lid. They're beautiful. If you have any wrinkles on your lid, it will not emphasize it. The colors here, this deep plum, really looks like a deep plum. It's not going to look purple like really on your lid. This is such a beautiful warm tone. I absolutely love these browns. This is such a great transition color. And this brown leans a little bit cool. So if you like a cool a cool eye, you definitely can get that. And then the shimmers are my absolute favorite, so I'm just going to swatch them for you. I think they are just, like, perfect. I have dents in all of these. See how smooth they are? Like, oh my god, can I just, what? Can we just look at this for a minute? Oh my god. I just love it. They're just so smooth. If you don't have this palette, what are you doing? You've made a mistake. Go get it. It's perfect. I love it. And I didn't even swatch one of the best ones. Hang on. So many shades. This sassy color, like, it's not just blinding because of the light. Like, do you see this? It's so amazing. Anyway, I absolutely love this palette. If you took all of my palettes away today, this is the one that I would buy literally one day after. No, I wouldn't even go a day without it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I sometimes feel like on Instagram and here that people want to see eye colors like eyeshadow looks like this that are a little bit more bright. But to be honest, I could be very happy wearing this palette every day. I think it gives me enough variety and enough shimmer and enough joy that I would use it. So those are my 10 top favorite palettes. I have one honorable mention, and it is one that I used today, and I think it's just such a fun palette. So this is the Magic Mini palette, and they on the back I just noticed it's called Opposites Attract, and it's inspired by the moon and the sun, goddesses of the wilds. I don't know if I knew that they wrote stuff on the back of these palettes. I gotta read that. But anyway, this palette is fabulous because it has a bunch of, do I want to call them pastels? Kind of, like intense pastels. But this was a palette that I was so surprised how many wonderful looks I got from it that I didn't expect. Has a deep purple and a deep navy, although this navy, once it's blended out, it's a really good navy, but once it's blended out, does become a little bit brighter. I'll show you what I mean. You see how it becomes a little bit more blue, but keeps the navy base here. So a lot of navies will blend out into a bright blue. This and the ColourPop one that I have from the Midnight Masquerade are the best navies that I've used. But it has a beautiful purple, this really cool steel kind of slate color, lilac purple, a pink, these metallics here, the bright green, that's actually the green that's all over on this part of my eye, pinks, the neutrals. I really like this palette. And if I was going to add one more, just because in this big set there isn't a ton of colorful shadows, this would be my 11th palette. But it would be my 11th. I would wait to get this one because I think that I would be very happy with the other palettes that I have. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it inspires you to maybe pull out some of your palettes or use some of the ones that you like more. Try what I did, using one palette every day and going through your collection. I wouldn't let myself use another palette unless I went through the whole set. Imagine that. So that was on my Instagram. If you go all the way back, the pictures aren't great at the beginning because I didn't know what I was doing. But I used every single one of my palettes one time, and then I started doing 5 or 7 looks, or 1 week of looks with the palettes that I had. So it definitely got me to understand my collection and the things that I like. But these would be my top 5. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe and join me along my no-buy journey. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.